The whole camp was silent. Everyone had heard the report. Elira returned alone again. No wounds, no fear. But 4 soldiers were dead. Their bodies were found torn apart, melted with acid, their weapons useless. The officers didn't understand what had happened. But they all knew one thing now. Elira was not normal. A commander came to question her. He had seen war. His face was hard. His armor was heavy with metals. "What did you see in the jungle?" he asked. Elira stayed silent. "You saw the Droxal again, didn't you?" She didn't answer. He leaned forward. "Why is it protecting you?" "I don't know," she said quietly. But the truth was, something inside her had changed. The Droxal didn't just protect her. She could feel it now, like it was near. Watching. Waiting. The other recruits avoided her like a plague. Some believed she was cursed. Others thought she was chosen. A few whispered that maybe she was something more than human. The camp placed armed guards around her, tent, not to protect her, but to protect others from her. That night, the guards disappeared, vanished without a sound. The camp was in chaos the next morning. Drones showed black shapes moving in the jungle. Not just one. Many. Command ordered. A lockdown. All training was canceled. Soldiers were pulled back to the central base. But Elira was sent out alone. They said it was scouting. But everyone knew what it really was. A test. Would she live again? Elira didn't argue. She strapped on her armor, took her rifle, and walked into the jungle without a word. The trees closed behind her. The air grew thick. Every shadow looked alive. She moved quietly through the underbrush. She didn't know where she was going, but something inside guided her. A feeling. She followed. Hours passed. Suddenly, the trees opened up to a giant clearing. Old ruins stood in the center. Stone towers, vines, broken statues, and there, waiting in silence, was the Droxal. It stood tall, its red eyes glowing like fire. But this time, it wasn't alone. Another figure stepped out of the shadows. Tall, armored, with silver skin and deep blue eyes, a humanoid alien. His armor bore the same mark as the Droxal. He looked at Elira, surprised. "So, you are the one," he said. Elira raised her weapon slowly. "Who are you?" "I'm a bondmaster," he replied. "And that creature behind me is bonded to you." Elira blinked. "Bonded?" "Yes. You entered the jungle without fear. You faced death and didn't fight it. You showed mercy, and the Droxal saw your soul." She stepped back. "I didn't do anything." "You did everything," he said. "The Droxal doesn't choose lightly. You are its human now." "What does that mean?" "It means," he said calmly, "your life is no longer yours alone. It will fight for you. Kill for you. Die for you." Elira looked at the beast. It stood silently behind the alien, like a silent shadow, the bondmaster continued. "But now, it's not just one Droxal. Something is coming, something ancient, something worse than war." He stepped closer. "And they're coming for you." Before she could speak, the jungle shook. The sky turned dark. Screams echoed in the distance, real ones. A warning light on her arm blinked red. The base was under attack. Not a drill, not training, a full assault. The bondmaster nodded once. "It's time." The Droxal growled deeply, its claws glowing with fire. Elira looked at the jungle, then at the creature, then back at the sky. She didn't run, she didn't hide. She stepped forward and whispered, "Then let them come." The sky was burning. Black clouds rolled over the jungle like smoke from a dying world. Loud booms echoed across the trees. Red flashes lit up the sky. The army base was under attack. Elira didn't hesitate. She ran. Behind her, the Droxal followed, without a sound. Its heavy feet left deep marks in the soft earth, but its speed was terrifying. In the jungle, it moved like a shadow, fast and silent. The bondmaster ran beside them, calm and focused. "What's attacking the base?" Alira asked breathlessly. "Not just creatures," he said. "A hive." Alira frowned. "What's a hive?" The bondmaster looked at her. "You'll see." As they reached the outer camp walls, they saw it. Chaos. Soldiers fired wildly into the trees. Blasters lit up the dark like stars. Screams cut through the air, and from the forest came monsters. Tall, thin, twisted things. Covered in black. Moss. Eyes glowing green. Skin peeled back, showing metal bones underneath. They didn't run. They crawled. Like insects. Like one mind. Like a hive. Alira raised her rifle and started firing. Her hands were steady now. Her fear was gone. The Droxal roared behind her and charged. One leap, and it crushed 3 of the crawling beasts in a single blow. Claws spun, bodies flew. The battlefield trembled. The soldiers saw it. They stared, in shock. "That's a Droxal. Why is it fighting with us?" "It's protecting her." But no one had time to ask more. The enemy kept coming. Dozens, then hundreds. They poured out of the jungle like black water. The bondmaster moved, like lightning, a long blue blade spinning in his hands. He was faster than any human Alira had seen. She stayed close to him, firing shot after shot. But still, it wasn't enough. The walls were falling. The front gate exploded. Troop carriers burned. Drones were ripped out of the sky. The base was collapsing. Then Alira saw them. At the center of the enemy force, something bigger. A queen. It floated above the ground, tall and twisted. Tentacles moved like snakes from its back. Its face was covered with a mask made of bone, and when it screamed, it felt like her head would explode. The Droxal roared back. It rushed toward the queen, but something hit it, a wave of force. The creature was pushed back, slammed into the wall of the command center. It got up, slower this time. Alira ran to its side. It bled dark, glowing liquid from its leg. It didn't look at her. It only stared at the queen. The bondmaster shouted over the noise. "She's not just a queen. She's bonded too. To darkness." Alira didn't understand. "She's the opposite of you," he shouted. "You gave mercy. She gave death." Alira looked at the battlefield. Smoke, fire, death, everything falling apart. She had trained for war. But this wasn't war. This was the end of something, and she was at the center of it. Then the Droxal turned to her. Finally. For the first time, it didn't kneel. It bowed its head slowly, and touched her shoulder with its bloody claw, and in her mind, she heard something. A voice. "Will you lead?" Alira froze. The voice was deep, cold, powerful, but it didn't hurt her. She looked at the Droxal. It wasn't asking to fight, it was asking to follow. She slowly nodded. "Yes." The Droxal let out a deep sound. Not a roar. A promise. And then it changed. Its back opened like armor breaking apart. Red lights glowed across its shoulders. Metal shifted. It was offering itself to her. The bondmaster gasped. "It wants to bond fully." Alira stepped forward. The Droxal wrapped its claws around her, gently, and lifted her up. The armor folded around her body, piece by piece. It was warm, alive. It pulsed like a heartbeat. When it was done, she stood taller, stronger. Her vision turned sharp. Her arms felt like steel, and she understood now. The Hive Queen had to die. She stepped forward, her boots cracking the stone. Under her, the bondmaster bowed slightly. Alira raised her hand. "Let's end this." The battlefield froze for 1 second. The sky was still burning. Soldiers were screaming, but something had changed. Alira stepped forward, wearing the living armor of the Droxal. Her eyes glowed faint red now. The jungle wind moved around her like it was alive. The enemy creatures stopped crawling for a moment. They could feel it. Something ancient. Something stronger than death. The Hive Queen hissed. Her body floated across the broken battlefield like a ghost. Tentacles moved behind her, carrying her slowly forward. Her green eyes locked onto Alira, and Alira stared back. The bondmaster whispered from behind, "You're bonded now, fully. That means you have command." "Command of what?" Alira asked. The ground shook. Trees in the far jungle snapped. Deep rumble echoed from the shadows. Then, more Droxals appeared. 2, 4, 6 of them. Massive creatures, all with scars, all deadly. Their claws dripped with acid. Their red eyes burned in the dark, but they didn't charge. They stood behind Elira, waiting. She had never trained for this. She had never commanded a team. She was just a low soldier, a nobody. Now she led a pack of monsters. "I don't know what to do," she whispered. The bondmaster placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then let your soul decide." She stepped forward. The Hive Queen shrieked. Her army moved as one, thousands of creatures crawling over the broken walls. They didn't care about weapons. They didn't fear death. They only knew one command: consume. Elira raised her hand. The Droxals charged. The jungle turned into a storm. Explosions tore through the battlefield. Droxals leapt into the crowd, claws spinning, bodies flying. Elira moved like lightning. Her armor reacted faster than thought. Bullets bounced off. Lasers hit and burned, but healed in seconds. She was no longer just human. She was something more. The Hive Queen floated higher, watching the chaos. She lifted her arms, and the ground cracked. Giant beasts, like black worms with steel teeth, broke through the earth. They were massive. One of them lunged at Elira. She jumped, straight onto its head. She fired a pulse into its skull. Direct hit. The beast screamed and collapsed, shaking the whole field. Her soldiers cheered. The human ones, the Droxals, didn't cheer. They just kept killing. But the Hive Queen wasn't done. She spread her tentacles wide and sent a mental blast across the field. It hit like fire in the brain. Elira screamed. Her vision blurred. She fell to one knee. The armor around her cracked. She felt something inside, like a shadow pulling her mind. A voice whispered in her head, "You are not chosen. You are borrowed. Give up." She bit her lip, tasted blood. She looked up and saw the queen flying toward her, fast now, ready to strike. Elira reached into the bond, into the Droxal inside her, and said in her heart, "Help me." The armor lit up, full red. The queen's attack hit, but bounced off like lightning on steel. Elira stood, lifted both hands, and fired a shockwave. The queen was pushed back. Elira didn't stop. She leapt forward. The queen screamed and raised a blade. They collided. Steel met bone. Fire met darkness. Sparks flew into the sky like falling stars. The bondmaster shouted, "She's fighting it! She's winning!" But it wasn't over. The queen still had more power. The hive still crawled forward. Elira was running out of time. She had to end it, and to do that, she would have to go deeper. Into the jungle. Into the hive's heart. Where no human had ever walked before, and where even the Droxals feared to go. She looked at the queen one last time and said aloud, "You think I'm borrowed?" She pointed at the army behind her. "They chose me." The queen's scream shattered the trees, and the final battle was only beginning. The jungle was dead silent. Elira stood at the edge of the great sinkhole. It was deep, wide, and glowing with green light. Smoke floated from below. The trees bent away like they were afraid of it. This was the heart of the hive. Behind her, the bondmaster waited with the last few soldiers. Most of the base had fallen. Fires still burned. Bodies lay across the field, human and hive alike. The Droxals stood around Elira like statues. Their red eyes glowed, watching the hole, waiting for her signal. "I have to go alone," Elira said quietly. The bondmaster frowned. "Even bonded, you won't survive long in there." "I have to try," she said. "If I don't destroy the queen's core, she'll come back, again and again." He didn't argue. Elira turned and stepped into the hole. The air grew cold. The ground was soft and wet. Glowing vines crawled along the walls. The deeper she went, the more her armor pulsed, like it was warning her. The Droxal inside her was afraid. That made her afraid too. But she kept walking. At the bottom, she found it. A chamber. Alive. The walls were made of flesh. They pulsed like a beating heart. At the center stood a massive green crystal, floating above a pool of black liquid. The Hive Queen waited beside it. Her form had changed. Now she was taller, sharper, more dangerous. The mask of bone had fallen off. Her face was hollow, no mouth, no nose, only glowing green eyes. "You came to die," she said, her voice echoing without sound. "I came to end this," Alira replied. The Queen raised her arms. The chamber shook. Black spikes rose from the floor. Alira ran. She jumped, rolled, fired a pulse. It hit the Queen's shoulder, burned her. The Queen screamed and charged. They fought in the dark. Claw against claw. Light against shadow. The Droxals. Power inside Alira surged again, stronger than before. Every time the Queen struck, Alira struck back harder. She remembered the pain, the training, the nights of being ignored, the days no one saw her. Now they would remember. Because now, she was not alone. The Droxal gave her strength. She punched forward, straight into the Queen's chest. The Queen staggered back. Alira didn't stop. She raised her hand and fired one final blast, straight into the hive core. The green crystal shattered. The chamber screamed. The Queen fell backward, her body cracking, breaking, melting into black ash. The walls around Alira shook violently. The hive was collapsing. She ran. Stones crashed down. Vines burned. Black liquid boiled around her. She climbed. The whole wall, faster than human speed. Her hands bled. Her armor cracked. But she didn't stop. At the top, the bondmaster reached out, grabbed her arm, pulled her up. She coughed hard and looked back. The jungle heart exploded behind her, sending green fire into the sky. The Droxals roared in victory. The hive was dead. Alira stood slowly. Her armor faded back into the creature's form. The Droxal knelt again behind her, silent, loyal, proud. The bondmaster stepped forward. "You did what no human ever could." Alira looked at him. "I wasn't supposed to," she said. "I was nobody. Not anymore." The few surviving soldiers walked toward her, limping, tired, broken, but alive. One by one, they stopped and saluted her. The jungle was quiet now. The planet was still. And Alira was no longer just a recruit. She was the one who turned a monster into a guardian, and a forgotten soldier into a legend. Alira stood in line with the other new soldiers, her back straight, her face serious. But no one paid attention to her. The trainers shouted orders. The others moved quickly, loudly, confidently. Alira moved quietly, always behind, always unnoticed. She was just a human girl, thin, soft-spoken. She had no medals, no special training, no powerful family. She was from a small mining colony on a dusty moon that most people forgot. The only reason she had joined the Galactic Army was because her father had died working in the mines. She needed a new life, a new purpose, but the army didn't seem to care. They gave her an old uniform. Her bunk was near the waste recycler. And the others? They laughed when she struggled during drills. They called her names. Dead weight. Tag along. No body. After 2 weeks, her name wasn't even on the main squad list. She was marked as a spare. If someone got sick or hurt, she would replace them. If no one did, she was ignored. Then came the assignment to Draven 6. Draven 6 was a jungle planet deep in the outer belt. Hot, thick with trees, and full of danger. It was used by the military for survival training. No real cities, no tech zones. Just green, mud, heat, and fear. Alira sat quietly on the transport ship as the sergeant gave orders. "You are going into live terrain. You will survive 7 nights without our help. Work in teams. Watch the trees. If you hear growling, run, or pray." The soldiers laughed, but Alira didn't. She had read the reports. Deep in the jungle, something lived there. Something not human. Something fast, strong, and very, very smart. Some said it was a ghost from the ancient wars. Others said it was just an animal. But even the officers avoided going too far in. The locals had a name for it. Droxal, a predator over 10 feet tall. Black skin like metal. Teeth like blades. Red eyes. It didn't roar, it didn't chase. It stalked and waited. But Alira said nothing. She knew no one would listen. When they landed, The jungle was thick. Humid air made it hard to breathe. Giant insects flew past their faces. Strange howls echoed far away. The group set up camp and made teams. Alira was, again, left alone. The drill began on the third night. All teams were told to move east through the jungle and return by sunrise. It was meant to test their navigation skills. No tech, no weapons, only a flashlight, a map, and a knife. The others moved quickly. Alira followed a path near the back, her map in her hand. But the fog got thick. Trees looked the same in every direction. She stepped over roots, pushed vines aside, and kept walking. Then she realized she was alone. Her flashlight flickered. She called out. No answer. She took a step forward, then heard it. A low, deep growl. Not near, not far, slow, hungry. Her heart raced. Her knife shook in her hand. She turned to run, then stopped. Something stood between the trees. Not a shadow. Not a man. It was tall. Too tall. Its head brushed the tree branches. Its body was dark like oil. Its arms were long, ending in claws. Its red eyes glowed in the dark. It was the Droxal. Alira froze. She couldn't move. She couldn't scream. Her whole body locked with fear. The Droxal stepped forward. Leaves crushed under its heavy feet. Its eyes locked onto hers. Its mouth opened slightly, showing sharp teeth. It was close now. One more step and it could cut her in half. She whispered to herself, "This is how I die." But then, something happened. The Droxal tilted its head. It studied her. It made a low sound, not a growl, not a threat. More like a hum. Alira blinked. Her legs shook. She was ready to faint. Then the Droxal did something no one had ever seen. It lowered its head. Its arms pulled back, and slowly it bent down onto one knee. The monster knelt before her. For a moment, everything was silent. The jungle stopped, moving. Even the air felt still. Alira stepped back in shock. The Droxal looked up at her, like a soldier looking at a commander, like a loyal pet waiting for her words. She had no words. Then the beast stood again. But it didn't attack. It turned slowly, looked at her one more time, and disappeared into the trees without a sound. Alira stood there, alone, breathing fast. Her heart pounded in her chest. Her hands shook. What just happened? Why didn't it kill her? Why did the galaxy's most feared predator kneel before her? She didn't know the answer. But from that night on, the jungle would never be the same, and neither would she. Alira didn't sleep that night. She sat by the base of a tall jungle tree, holding her knife tight, her flashlight low. Her heart wouldn't stop racing. Her hands were cold, her face pale. The Droxal had looked at her. It had knelt to her. It should have torn her apart. That was what everyone said Droxals did. They hunted silently. They didn't show mercy. They didn't stop. Yet, it had done something else. It had treated her like something important. Like she mattered. No one had ever done that before. Not in her squad. Not in her old life. The morning sun broke through the green trees. Birds shrieked in the distance. Somewhere, someone blew a horn. It was the army's call for return. Alira moved slowly back to the pickup zone. She was late, dirty, and quiet. When she reached the group, everyone turned and stared. She expected them to laugh, to mock her, but this time, they didn't. They looked confused. A few even looked nervous. The sergeant stepped forward. His cyber eye scanned her. "You were alone in the jungle," he said. "All night." Alira nodded. "No injuries, no marks, no fear?" he asked. She didn't reply. The sergeant leaned in. "You smell like it," she blinked. "Smell like what?" He looked around, then said quietly, "Droxal." Whispers broke out. The other soldiers stepped back. "She's lying," one said. "She should be dead," another whispered. "No one survives a Droxal. No one." But Alira said nothing. She didn't lie. She didn't argue. She just stared into the jungle, where the red eyes had watched her. Back at the base camp, strange things began to happen. The perimeter alarms went off at night, but nothing showed up. Jungle cameras picked up heavy movements, too fast for animals, too big for men. And each time, the movement was near Elira's tent. Guards started watching her more closely. Drones were sent to follow her during drills, but the drones lost signal every time she stepped into the trees. Then, one morning, they found tracks, huge clawed footprints, deep, heavy, and wide, the kind only a Droxal could make. They started near Elira's tent and ended at the edge of the jungle. The officers grew nervous. Something was watching her, following her, protecting her. Elira still said nothing. She woke early, trained hard, ate alone, and every evening she walked near the jungle edge and sat quietly. She wasn't afraid. The others were. Then came the attack. It was during a night patrol. Elira's unit was sent to scan Sector 9, the deepest part of the jungle. Reports said something strange was growing there. Massive vines, rotting trees, and dark moving shapes. They moved in with flashlights and stun rifles. 5 soldiers. Elira was in the back again. They reached the sector and split up. Standard. Sweep. But something was wrong. The trees were dead. The ground was sticky. The air smelled like rot and blood. And then the screams began. One by one, the soldiers vanished, pulled into the dark. Their flashlights hit the ground. No gunfire. Just gurgling sounds and silence. Elira stood alone again. She turned slowly and saw them. Creatures, but not Droxals. These were something else. Tall, but sick-looking. Skin like fungus, claws covered in slime. Their eyes glowed green, not red. They were old enemies, leftovers from a dead war, and they had surrounded her. She raised her stun rifle. Her hands shook. She knew she couldn't kill them all. Maybe not even one. Then the jungle screamed, a loud, echoing roar, deep, sharp, and full of rage. The creatures stopped. From the trees something dropped. Black claws, red eyes, metal skin, the Droxal. It smashed into the nearest creature, breaking it like dry wood. Then it turned, swung its arm, and ripped another one in half. Elira didn't run. She stood still, breathing fast, her eyes wide. The Droxal moved, like lightning. It didn't stop. It killed them all. Then, silence. The black giant turned to her. Its chest rose and fell slowly. Blood dripped from its claws. It stepped forward. Elira stepped back. But then, the beast lowered its head again, just like before, and this time, it growled low, a deep sound, like a warning. Then it turned and vanished back into the trees. Elira dropped to her knees, not from fear, but from shock. She was still alive. Again. Not just alive, protected. Why? Why was this monster guarding her? What had she done? And more importantly, what did the Droxal want from her?